Hey familia, Miranda here, and in today's video I am going to be partaking in yet another challenge. So Mel and the crew, they did it again. They threw out another challenge. This time we are taking a blast to the past, 30 years to be exact. So we are going to be checking out my 9 rad films from the year 1994. Now I gotta say, you guys, this was a very hard challenge because 1994 was seriously an insanely awesome year for film. Lots of great classics, a lot of films that I grew up watching, not just watching them in like 99.4, but as the years went on, like just things that I always had, playing at home and stuff. So it was very difficult to narrow it down to just 9. There's so many great films, so many classics that I could have added to my list, but I have 9. I feel like it's a little bit kind of a generic list, but it is what it is, you guys. I will be sure to leave a link to the RadPack Podcast as well as the crew's individual channels in the description box below for you guys to go check out. But I was definitely on board for this challenge, so we're going to go on ahead and get into things. Feel free to drop your 9, your top rad 9 films from 1994 in the comments below. So let's go on ahead and get into things. Honestly, these aren't going to be in any particular order, you guys. I'm just going to show them off. So I'm not going like 9 to 1 or anything like that. Just totally random, because honestly, all these films are pretty interchangeable for me. None that are kind of like, set in stone, but these are definitely my faves. And the way I kind of took on this challenge is basically, what was I watching? What were my faves? And just like, which ones did I seriously have like on constant repeat, like just watching all the time, whether it was on VHS, DVD, on TV, or ones that I saw like in the theaters and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and see what my top 9 are. All right, so kicking things off with Speed, you guys. This one is an absolute classic, and to this day, it still freaking holds up. I love everything about this film. Honestly, for me, this is a perfect film. It literally has everything that you could want in a film. It's beautifully shot. Obviously, there's character chemistry between, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and even all of the other characters on the bus. They kind of add to the story nicely, but it's a great storyline, and just a really great kind of a little, action thriller. So I've always been a fan of this one. I remember seeing this one in theaters with my dad, and then anytime it would come on TV, we would always watch it and everything. So it's one that I remember kind of watching a lot with my dad and stuff throughout the years. But it was one that is one of those action flicks that, it was constantly on, and so I was constantly watching it. So I do remember, watching this one a ton. And it, like I said, it's freaking awesome. I love this one so much. All right, so next up we have The Page Master. Culkin, you'll be seeing him again later on, but I love this film. I think it's just a great story of a kid facing his fears, and I like the mix of, live action with animation. Definitely a unique kind of animation in here, but I did always enjoy this one. For some reason, though, as much as I watched this, I was always just kind of freaked out by it a little bit, because there's certain elements. There's like a little bit of like horror and fantasy elements in here. And then that melting ceiling, like I don't know what it was about that ceiling, but when that happened, it just like creeped me out so much. I don't know what it was, but The Page Master, I think Culkin was absolutely great in here. And like I said, it's just one that's kind of highly relatable, facing your fears kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely a fun one. Like I said, just a mix of live action with animation and stuff. It was done well. All right, so these next 2 I actually have here on a double feature, and they're really films that there's not really much that I can say on that you don't already know, but they are both great comedies that still hold up to this day, and that is Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. Now, obviously, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels here, their chemistry was freaking awesome. They are absolutely hilarious together, and, they definitely should do more stuff together down the road, if possible. But, I mean, obviously, there was the second and third film after this one, but it holds up so good, you guys. It seriously does. It's one that it's just as funny today as it was when I watched it for the first time. And then The Mask 2, I mean, this one is just a fun all-around concept. I mean, you basically have this guy who goes from, being kind of a nobody to Rico Suave, so, it's just a fun one as well. And I think he has great chemistry in here with Cameron Diaz and stuff. So 2 awesome comedies that to this day hold up and are just as funny, like I said, today as they were the first time that I watched them. So yeah, not much else to say on these ones, just great comedies. All right, next up we got Forrest Gump. I had to include this one, you guys. And I just revisited it and I'd forgotten just how much I love this film. And I remember watching this like all the time. It was always on TV, and it's just one of those great kind of family flicks. And it is one of the most like heartwarming films that you will ever watch. I mean, sure, there are a few moments in here that are, you know, a bit on the sad side, definitely pull at your heartstrings and stuff, but this film is seriously so super heartwarming. You know, obviously the Forrest Gump character, he is like one of the most likable characters ever in a film. And I love the storyline of this. He's just sitting on this bench and kind of retelling his life to, you know, people who kind of come and go, you know, who are waiting for the bus as well. And, you know, his whole love story with Jenny and everything, it's one of those films that will seriously have you smiling the whole entire time, like ear to ear. And I do absolutely adore this film so much. And Tom Hanks, this is easily his best performance yet, you guys. He's absolutely phenomenal in here. And this film is just absolutely amazing, like I said. So, yeah, Forrest Gump had to be on my list. All right, now the list wouldn't be complete or anything without The Crow. This too is another classic that has held up beautifully over the years. And it's just another like perfect film in my opinion. I love the storyline of this one. It's a great kind of revenge flick. I got Brandon Lee kicking butt. And you know, all in all, I dig the whole kind of, you know, darkness to this film, you know, the tones that it's done in, and just the storyline in general being, you know, so dark and everything. Great performances throughout, but it's absolutely fantastic and has held up so well. All right, so next up we have Richie Rich. Told you you'd be seeing Culkin again. And you know what? I could, like, honestly, 94 was a good year for Macaulay Culkin, because he also had Getting Even with Dad, which that one too I was fond of, but not as much as, say, Richie Rich or The Page Master. Now, Richie Rich here, you guys, this is an absolutely just fun film. And honestly, I was super jealous of him. Like, seriously, I mean, you have this kid, he's this rich kid, obviously, but he doesn't really necessarily fit in with all the other rich kids, and he just wants some friends. And so one day, obviously, he goes out, he meets some kids, you know, who on the street who are playing ball, and he just wants to join in. His butler dude decides to one day invite him over to play, and it's just kind of turns into this kind of blossoming friendship, and, you know, getting into a little bit of mischief and stuff, but, you know, trying to save his parents and whatnot. But seriously, I was super jealous of Richie Rich. Like, I wanted to live in this, you know, big ass mansion and have my own McDonald's, my own roller coaster, even though I've never been on a roller coaster before. But, you know, he just had so many cool things in his house. It was just totally freaking awesome, and I was super jealous, you guys. So, but it's such a fun film. Him teaming up with these, you know, just like, you know, neighborhood kids or whatever, and trying to save his parents from this, you know, bad guy here and everything. But it's definitely a fun one, and, you know, him and the kids together, they all had just great chemistry and everything, and it just was fun. So Richie Rich, definitely one that I had on a repeat quite a bit. All right, another one too that kind of made me a little jealous, I'll say. That is Blank Check, another fun one right here. It's just one of those what if situations. What if you had $1 million? What the heck are you gonna buy with it? And so this kid, obviously, he gets this blank check. He makes it out for $1 million, and he just starts buying all of these really cool things. Like, I really dug the house that he bought in here. It was very unique, and then just all the fun things that he was buying up and everything, and it was just loads of fun, you guys. And it's one too that I just constantly had on repeat, and it still holds up, you guys. Honestly, to this day, I still think it's super fun. And also, we got Blank Check. All right, last but not least, you guys, we got Little Giants. Of course, I had to include this one, other one too, that was constantly playing in my house. Me and my siblings, we really enjoyed this one a lot. But yeah, I mean, Icebox, like, seriously, like, she was so badass. I wanted to be like her. And just all of these kind of misfit kids that, you know, didn't really fit into beyond the, you know, main football, you know, team of the town or whatever. They all just kind of had their unique personalities, and they all just worked so well together. There's such great chemistry between all of the, you know, misfit kids. But I mean, the whole idea of these two brothers going up against each other, you know, creating their own football teams and, you know, seeing who's the best of the best or whatever. It's just a fun concept for sure, you guys. And I just always had loads of fun with this one. And it's just one that is still, to this day, I laugh like every time I watch this one. And it's still so So good, you know, just as the first day that I watched it. So Little Giants. So those are my picks, you guys. Like I said, there was so many awesome films in 94 that it was super hard to narrow it down. I mean, there was some great classics. I mean, obviously I didn't include like Shawshank Redemption or Pulp Fiction, which those are great films, but I didn't necessarily grow up on them, and they're not ones that I have seen like, you know, a ton of times. But I do enjoy those films. I do love them nonetheless. Just didn't quite make the cut on my list. I could have easily gone, you know, the animated way and, you know, included like The Lion King or Troll in Central Park, which that one, might I say, is underrated and a bit creepy. You know, there were so many great films. Also, like, you know, Ace Ventura: Pet Detectives. Jim Carrey had that film as well that year, so that was another great year for him. So many just really amazing films that came out in 1994, and it was super hard to narrow it down. But I'm happy with my picks because they're definitely the ones that I had pretty much on repeat the most. So, you know, like in 94 and throughout the years and stuff. They definitely played a huge part in my childhood and everything. So yeah, those are my picks. Again, let me know if you guys want to, you know, share your Rad 9 in the comments below. Definitely do so. Mel and the crew, guys, thank you for, you know, throwing out another amazing challenge. It was definitely fun, a hard one for sure, but I enjoyed participating. So that's it for today's video, you guys. Again, all the links for the RadPack and their individual channels will be in the description box below for you guys to go check out. So that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.